Hi, I'm Charlotte Merrill, and this is our So Let's Be Friends podcast. This is a place where everyone belongs, and every story matters. Together, we celebrate our differences, bring awareness to disabilities, and build a more inclusive and supportive world. One conversation at a time, let's open our hearts and listen with kindness.
I like when people ask me about my crutches because they can get to know me, and I like having friends, so let's be friends.
This life is beautiful, and you are wonderful.
Hi friends, welcome back to So Let's Be Friends. I'm Charlotte, and this is my mom. This is where we show up for each other and learn through real stories. Today I'm talking with Celeste Franco. She is a young adult navigating life with chronic illness and special needs, and she's stepping into a new season, moving out on her own and learning what independency looks like for her. We will learn about her story and experience growing up and what it looks like for her moving from teenage years to adulthood with challenges and a lot of strength. Celeste, so happy you're here.
Thank you for having me, Charlotte. I'm happy that I'm here too to share my story.
You're welcome. Thank you. Celeste, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what makes you you?
Yes. So I'm Celeste Franco. I was born and raised in Heber, Arizona, and I have 4 siblings, 1 younger and 3 older.
Wow.
Well, we're glad to have you here today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
me too. What are some things you love or enjoy doing?
So this might sound weird, but I love to organize a lot of stuff. Like anything. I just like organizing things and hanging out with my family and my niece and nephews.
That's awesome. So does your mom get you lots of organizing jobs?
Yes. Yes.
I would love that as a mother.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
me too. You've got a lot of personality. I love it. How would your family and friends describe you?
This is kind of hard, but I would say probably happy and outgoing all the time.
Those are good words.
Yeah.
I also think she's
Me
spunky
too.
and silly and just very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was life like for you growing up with chronic illness and special needs?
It was different. Growing up, I always thought I was different in a way. And I outgrew that. I realized that I'm not different. I'm just a normal person with just like a different size of body. And
she's tiny and cute. We had to put her on books.
I'm tiny.
She's sitting on books right now just to have her up as big as everyone else.
Yeah. But with my challenges when I was in school, it was very hard. And now the older I get, it's who I am and I love it.
What was hard about it?
I guess like my older siblings all got like their driver's license and they all got like their milestones at like the age of 16 and their height limit at the age of 12, and just all their milestones were at the correct age. And I got my license when I was almost 19 and I stopped growing when I was in 6th grade. So those challenges were just a bit hard, but now I love it and I wouldn't change it for who I am.
Yeah, and people can relate with the milestones thing. Charlotte's 22, and do you have your driver's license yet?
Nope.
No?
I'm working on them.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
I'm planning on probably want to get it after my mission.
That's awesome.
Yep. So the milestones are a little bit slower. And that's
Mhm.
okay.
Taking one step at a time.
Yes.
That's absolutely
That's
right.
awesome.
And you put it all together. Life is crazy.
Life is crazy.
Yeah.
And you know what? We've
But-
talked about being different, but we're all different.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter with a disability or not, right?
Yes.
Everybody's different.
Yep.
Mhm. If we can recognize that we don't have to be the same or like somebody else. It's okay.
Can you share a little bit more about the beginning of your story?
Yeah. So I was born at 32 weeks with what was called high drops. And with it, I have what's called Noonan syndrome. It's like Turner syndrome, really similar. I had a lot of fluid in my chest cavity. And so the doctors had to put tubes to drain all the fluids. And my mom started getting the symptoms that I started having, and I had 5% chance to live, which is a huge miracle. And the struggles with that and with my family was I had 3 older they were little at the time. I think my oldest sister was about 7 years old, and my mom missed her riding a bike without training wheels, and my other sister riding a bike with training wheels, and then my brother talking because he was only about 2. So
because she was so focused on supporting you with what was happening. Is that
Yeah.
why? Okay.
And I was in the hospital at Phoenix Children's for 9 weeks.
A lot of parents can relate with that. Taking care of a child that needs extra attention, right?
Yeah. So one time, actually, my dad told my mom to go home, and I had grandparents and aunts and uncles come and stay with me in the hospital. And now thinking about it, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But at the same time, I was a baby. So I'm like, why would they just go stare at me? Because they couldn't do anything. But it meant a lot to my mom and dad what they did for me.
And you know what? That connection that your family made is really important. You as a little baby, you don't remember that. But that connection, that touch, that love that you received during that time has actually made you who you are. Because your brain is developing so quickly at that time and trying to understand where trust is and who to trust.
Yeah.
And so your family and parents helped develop that early, which I think is really special that they made that important.
Yep.
Well, good.
Okay. What were some early challenges you or your family faced?
For me, I faced for challenges of I didn't start talking till the age about 3 or 4 years old. I didn't start walking till about 3 years old. And the challenges with my parents and siblings were just dealing with a feeding tube. I had a feeding tube from when I was born to when I was 5 years old because I couldn't eat. And just like every trip we go on, we had to take medical supplies for a good 5 years of my life.
Do you remember any of that, or are these stories that you hear from your mom?
These are stories I hear from my mom or watch home videos back. I did have to start taking growth hormone shots from the age of 1 to the age about 12 years old. And we think they helped. We think they don't.
Well, you're perfect no matter what.
I could have been a little smaller if I didn't take them.
Yeah.
But
how tall are you?
I'm 4'7", 4 feet 7 inches.
We love it. She's cute. Any other?
I guess like milestones that I were doing was it's hard for me to go on hikes. It's hard for me to walk. You talk to my parents and we go on hikes, and this hike will take 10 minutes and for our family it would take 30 because I had to take a lot of breaks. So
yep, we know what that's like, right?
Those are just the little challenges that come, but we love it.
Well, we love you.
Thank you.
Yeah, taking hikes is hard for me too.
But do you love it?
Yes.
So you keep doing it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was one hike that I did on the way there, but on the way back I had to fly out. It was hard.
What hike was that?
Havasupai.
Yeah, she hiked in 13 miles with her crutches, but
That's
we tried
awesome.
the switchbacks out and we had to get her helicoptered out. A little bit dangerous at that point, right?
Yes.
That's
It was
awesome.
hard.
So we like to try things.
And also I climbed the Mooney Falls.
Mooney Falls, yep, and Havasupai. That was scary and exciting.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
we get from point A to point B. Sometimes it just looks differently, right?
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter how we get the milk at the
Nobody's
back of the store.
perfect.
Yeah.
What has it been like making and keeping friends?
This one is a very tough one. I have long distance, they're not long distance friends, but they've been friends since about kindergarten. They're two boys. We call them the Twinners because they're twins, and we call them the Porters because they're porters. And in school, they would read to me out in the hallway. They would invite me all the time to go hang out. I was in high school and I got my wisdom teeth out, and my cousin was going to go hang out, and her mom said, "You can't hang out unless Celeste goes." And I said, "No, you go hang out. I can't do anything." And they came, dragged me out of the house, and we went and played fugitive. And I just sat in the truck talking with them.
Because getting your wisdom teeth out, you couldn't do much of the
Yeah.
time. Is that why?
Yeah, because I was a day after. But it was fun. And those two Porter twins, they are still my friends today. They text me, I text them, and I think those are the most friends that I have still consistently.
That's wonderful. So basically, just friends that have shown up and as a friend with your disability too, read to you when you couldn't read. Is that what
Yes.
you're saying in the school hallway? So
Yep.
the teachers knew that they could call on them to go read with Celeste.
Yeah.
And I think that's special. And that's where friendships do start, is when we get to serve each other, right?
Yep.
And I know that you've served them in return, and that's what friendships are.
Yeah.
Looking out for each other. That's special.
Okay. What does a good friend look like to you?
I guess somebody that's caring, somebody that is always there with you, with your downs, your ups, your lows, your challenges. I think that's what a good friend
I totally agree. What have you learned about friendships that could help others?
I learned to just be yourself. If you hide who you really are, it's harder to have friends. But if you're yourself right off the bat, it's easier. So just be yourself and you will make friends.
That's good advice. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't try to be what they want you to be, or try to be someone else, right?
Yeah, I tried that.
And that doesn't work well. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So high school for me was not easy at all. It was very hard, very challenging. Yes, it was fun sometimes, but it was very challenging to keep and make more friends, to do schoolwork, to feel like you get left out all the time. And that's how my high school years were. I thought I was left out of a lot of things all the time.
So why were you left out of a lot of things?
So I was in special ed for English and math mainly, but I had an aide for my other classes. And I felt like when I went into the special ed room, I felt like all my friends were having way more fun. And even though they were in classes, they were still learning like me. They also had, free hour, like a release hour, and they got to leave campus. For me, I didn't have that option because first, I couldn't drive, and second, I needed more help in schoolwork, and just more extra curricular itinerary to help me.
You needed more support, so they used the hour to give you more support?
Yeah.
So it took away from your friendship and freedom time that you really craved?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be hard. And I know, Charlotte, you've experienced the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like having to go to the self-contained room when they shuffled you off there?
Not really.
What would you rather have done?
Go to, I wouldn't say normal classes, regular classes.
The regular classes where your friends were?
Yeah.
Yeah, as an adult looking back at that, it's kind of frustrating that you were shuffled off.
Yeah.
But also, if I did not go back there, then I wouldn't make good friends like I do have now.
So you made friends going to that class too.
Yeah.
But maybe it would have been better, you're saying, is if they were included in the other classes too.
Yeah. Like, they probably would make more friends like I did back in high school, but it's hard when none of your friends or cousins or anyone that you like or love reached out.
Yeah. Or were in your classes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have like two good friends just kept reaching out to me.
That's awesome.
It's kind of like those Porter boys for you, right? Those few friends that just were, and I think a lot of us have that in our life, those few friends that keep reaching out, or we get to reach out to them and keep those long-lasting relationships, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, high school's a little hard. And I think possibly even a little bit harder when you have some disabilities that you have to deal with, right?
Yeah.
Darn it.
It's hard to keep up with friends.
Like walking with crutches and things you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had that kind of time with being a little bit littler and running out of energy quickly?
Yep.
Yeah. What were some struggles you faced during that time?
We kind of answered that already, but is there anything more that you want to add to that? What were some struggles you faced?
I guess with like taking tests were really challenging. Taking notes were really challenging. And in order to use notes on a test, I couldn't read my notes.
Or you couldn't write your notes, right? It was hard to write them and read them.
Yeah. It was hard to do a lot of things. But a big thing was I was in seminary, and that class did help me in school. And it was one of the classes that I loved because I felt the spirit and I had friends. Everybody knew me. Everybody knew my disability, and it just felt more like I'm not alone. I have friends.
Well, that was good. So you found a class that was inclusive and made you feel important?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad for that.
Yep.
It is hard. Charlotte struggled with that too in school, with having to write notes, having an aide that would help describe for her, right? Help them write the notes.
It's still hard to do notes these days.
Yeah, it is.
She's tried college and it's hard. Sometimes I have to go with her to write her notes, right?
I'd rather to go by myself like others can, but I don't know. It's hard.
It is hard, and you girls are tough. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. Were there moments that helped you shape who you are today?
Yeah, so with my parents and the principal that we are really good friends with being on board, I got to go into math and English gen ed class.
What does gen ed mean?
It's a core class, so it's like an actual classroom.
Like what Charlotte said, regular classroom? Oh, cool.
Yep.
That was nice. You had a principal supporting that.
Was I ready for it? No. But my goal in high school was I wanted to tell my kids, my future kids, that if they had challenges, that they could do hard things, because I did. And I was in math from my sophomore year till I graduated. That was kind of tough because I didn't know a lot of math. I'm not really that, it was just hard to me. Luckily, my brother-in-law was my math teacher, so it made it a little easier. But it was still hard. And then my senior year, it was last semester of my senior year, I got to go in English. And that was just a class that was really fun. And I struggled in that class as well. But with people being on board, it helped me grow and show that I could do hard things.
Yes, I love
for
that.
now.
Did they send a teacher's aide in to support you as well?
No.
Oh.
So on both those classes were a bit hard because the hours that the classes outlined, there was no aides available. But I went into a program with vocational rehabilitation, and it helps you get a job. It helps you with stuff, and they provided a laptop and a couple note-taking apps, and that helped me a little.
Okay, so they were really reaching hard to meet you and give you the tools you needed to support you.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's helping you because you're making a lot of growth. I mean, you're driving a car now, which is huge.
I'm driving, and I moved out of Huber, so.
And we're going to get to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
You are now stepping into adulthood. What has that transition felt like?
Honestly, it was a bit hard. What I did was right after graduation, a day after, I moved down to the valley. And I'm just gonna say I went and visited for a week because I lasted a week. My grandparents on my mom's side speak Spanish. I don't speak a lick of Spanish, and so it was just hard for me. I got really homesick. And it was a day after I graduated. So it was a bit hard too. So when I just came back to Heber, um, my mom and dad have a little, I guess you can call it apartment above the garage. It's just a little room, and they made it my apartment. And I lived there for 2 years, and that started my adulthood. So me paying rent, I washed dishes every single day, and I got help when like holidays came around and like and big crowds came around. But that was my rent, was washing dishes until I was done with that.
That was nice that your parents had that support
Yeah.
though for you,
Yes.
because not a lot of young adults with any kind of disability have that kind of support to even have a chance to do that.
Yeah.
So that's incredible.
So that was my start of adulthood.
Good.
Awesome. Thank you. What excites you about moving out on your own?
Because now you're taking even an extra step. You've moved out of Heber, like you said, on your own, right?
Yeah. So
and how old are you now?
I'm 23 years old. So at the age of 21, I moved 5 minutes away from my parents' house in Heber. We have a good friend of ours. She was actually my mom's midwife for a few of her kids. And I moved there and I paid her rent every month. And my mom and dad helped me a couple times because I couldn't. So that was a big chunk of really moving out on my own. And then I decided I didn't want to live in Heber anymore. I knew I couldn't go to Utah, and I knew I couldn't go to the valley. So I moved to Taylor, and the Merrills actually had a big part of me moving and making that transition of letting me move into one of their little apartments.
It was fun to get to know her that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. So that was a big transition. That was her first time moving 30 minutes from home, right?
Yeah.
That was scary.
That's when I knew about her.
That's when you get
Celeste.
Yep.
When my cousin moved from Utah, we kidnapped her from Utah.
We did, huh?
Yeah. When we went there.
Well, she was looking for also independent living. So we put these gals together so they could both learn.
And one day I was in the bakery and she was coming in with her mom, and that's when I knew her.
That's when you got to meet her for the first time, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
It's the friendships you make.
Beginning of my mission.
Yeah.
So we knew each other for 6 months.
Yes, we have.
What feels scary or uncertain?
The scary part of moving out was just being on my own. Yes, I can cook. Yeah, I can drive. But the ability that I had to pay rent was scary. I have what is called an intellectual disability. And that is really just hard for me to read, write, spell, and get a job. And so moving out on my own, that was a scary thing. My mom and dad started a business called Wikilicious. It's a Hawaiian filled donut business, and I helped them. And that was the way that I could work, get money, and pay rent as a normal, average adult.
That's creative. What is it again? Wikilicious?
Yeah.
That's super cute. And she has brought the donuts to the bakery, and they're delicious.
They're yummy.
Yes, they are.
What does independency looks like for you?
To me, after talking to my siblings, it looks like any other adult living on their own for the very first time. Yes, it's different for me because I do need help, like I was saying, paying rent and stuff, but I love it. I did have messed up a lot of times to the point where my bank account went empty a couple times because I wasn't paying attention to how much things cost. So now I look at deals, I look at sales, and I call my mom and dad for how to go grocery shopping, as in what's on sale, what's cheaper than cheaper than like something else. So like Great Value brand versus like the name brand stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I did have a couple of challenges in that department, but we're working on that. We're getting it fixed.
Does that sound like a familiar conversation?
Yes.
She just barely came to me. So as a parent on that side of it, you can't tell your children what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You have to wait for them to recognize they need help. And what did you finally do, Charlotte, last week?
Want help with grocery shopping.
She finally came to me and asked me for help. I've been trying to encourage her, trying to help her. She's emptied her bank account a few times too. Am I allowed to say that?
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
On one occasion, I even made her take
Me
most
too.
of the stuff back so she could cover her bills, trying to teach her how to do this. It's been interesting. So, yay, that's a hooray. When these young adults...
I'm glad I'm not the only one that messes a lot too. Like, a lot, besides just money.
Yeah.
But I think lesson learned from here, your parents are here to help you and they want to help, right? But we can't help until you're ready to be helped, right? And that's been huge. So Dad and I were cheering when Charlotte asked for help, because that means now I have permission to help her.
Yes, it works.
Which I love. Good. All right.
What are some things you're learning as you prepare to live on your own?
Things that I'm learning. I guess being alone. I was always been with my parents. When I graduated high school, I went on every trip with my parents and my younger brother. So my younger brother was not home alone, even though he probably wanted it to. But I went on every trip down to the valley, to Sholo. Everywhere they went, I tagged along. And being on my own, it's like, oh, well, I have to go to Sholo on my own. Oh, I have to drive to Heber by myself, or little things like that. Like, I still go on trips with my parents. I still go to the valley. I still go on family vacations, but majority of their trips I don't, because I'm in Taylor. I'm 30 minutes away, so they can't just wait 45 minutes, let me pack a bag and drive that way. So now I'm really on my own. I don't go on as many trips because I live farther away.
So you're learning to be alone.
Yes.
Exciting and scary, right?
Yes, both.
Well, good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
What kind of support has helped you the most during transition?
My parents, my siblings encouraging me. My parents, if I brought this up to them, let me move to Taylor 3 years ago, they probably would have said, heck no, you're not ready. Or they actually kind of hesitated when I did bring it up back in August. Not that I wasn't ready, but just because when I lived 5 minutes away from them, I was at my parents' every single day. And so they had to tell me over and over again, you moved to Taylor, you can't come home every day. You moved to Taylor, you can't go on every trip with us. And so they kind of had to put that in my head, and they were excited for me, wanting me to do it, but it was very hard to, like, when my parents were like, is she ready? Is she not? Finally, they said, let's give it a shot. And I'm still here 6 months later. So.
And that's nice. And your parents do show up, because I've seen them show up when you need them. And so
they're always here.
Well, I don't think they're always here, but they're here a lot.
Yeah. They're here quite a bit.
You're doing wonderful.
They're always here when you need them.
Yes. Yep.
Oh,
they will never go away.
Hope not.
Like my mom won't.
I hope not too.
Okay. What would you say to other young adults with chronic illness or special needs who are trying to figure out adulthood?
I would basically just say, if you feel like it's the right time, do it. The fact that I felt that was the right time was I just kind of felt a good feeling about it. And I felt like it was the right time, so I did it.
That's good. Listen to what your gut is telling you.
Yeah.
Because you do know yourself. But make sure you have the right support when you do it, right?
Yes. A support system is awesome.
And it doesn't always have to be parents.
Yeah.
Some of us don't have parents
Yeah.
to support us. So look for others that can be of support,
Mm-hmm.
right? And set that system up in place before you take off on your own.
Yes.
It can be a boss at work. It could be, who else could it be? Maybe one of your teachers. And it doesn't mean they have to do a lot for you. Just
Oh,
the
yeah.
encouragement, or maybe an emergency contact, or
Oh, for sure. Yep.
Like, when you really need help with something, like, can't totally figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
For yourself. What do you wish people better understood about living with chronic illness?
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yes.
A lot of times people think I'm 12. Just going into a grocery store. I've had people ask for my ID or where my parents are, just getting a little sample from Costco. So it's a little challenging, but I just smile and I just go with it, because I'm going to get it the rest of my life, and it's okay to have those challenges.
Do you ever try to educate people a little bit, explain a little bit about it?
Yeah, I do. The way I put it is, I just say I was born with a lot of medical background history, and that's why I'm short. To the point.
Yeah, just get to the point.
Yep.
That's cute.
Okay.
Another thing is, I don't care if people come up and ask me why I'm short or how old I am, because then it kind of, like, I don't care if you ask about me and how short or what my disability does, because you look at me and you just think I'm a little girl. But if you talk to me, you can kind of
Get to know
me, and you can kind of tell that I have a disability, and ask me. I don't care if people all over just come up and ask me why I'm short, and then I can explain.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of, Charlotte says the same thing.
Yeah.
Ask me about my crutches, right? Let's have a conversation.
Yeah, ask me about my crutches.
I think the idea is, instead of being afraid of those with special needs or disabilities, ask them questions, get to know them, and in return, they'll ask you questions, and you can actually create a friendship or know how to support each other.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be afraid to ask questions. I think that's the biggest thing to understand right there.
I get a lot of people asking, why do you need those?
Need the crutches?
Need the crutches. Like, even little kids.
Yeah, especially little kids, huh?
They're
not afraid to ask questions. That's why we need to encourage adults not to be afraid to ask questions, too.
Little kids think I'm their age.
You're so cute. I love it. Well, you're fun to be around, and we love that.
Thank you.
What gives you confidence or strength moving forward?
Being myself, just being out there. If somebody has a question or somebody wants to know something about me, I'm willing to share. So just putting myself out there.
Same. I'm willing to share too.
I love that you're willing to put yourself out there. You're not afraid of the world. That's amazing. And I'm proud of you.
Being afraid of the world, I don't know where that will lead to.
Yeah.
And you're afraid of everything.
You can't be afraid. You got to get yourself out there.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you so much, Celeste, for sharing your story and your heart with us. Your experiences are going to help so many young adults and families feel seen and understood. If you'd like to learn more about our mission or connect with support, you can visit www.merrillbuds.org. Thank you for listening, for caring, for supporting people of all abilities as we grow into who we are meant to be. And as always, so let's be friends!
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I loved it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You've done a good job.
Thanks.
And you're a special gal.
If you're listening, thank you for being a part of this. We are excited to share more stories and more truth and more love in every episode. Until next time, love one another, and like I say, so let's be friends.
you guys.